Hey everybody, it's Josh. I wanted to do my video today on something that seems to be a common issue I'm seeing in the comments from a lot of mainly young men, but a couple young women too, and even some older men. And that is they're stuck in life. They're stuck in a place where it just feels like nothing at all is going right. You know, maybe the most recent one I read was his girlfriend left him. He's 30 years old. He lost his job, a really good paying job, a $30 an hour job. And now he's stuck living at home with his mother. And he said everything is just so expensive, he can't find a break. Nothing is going right because when it rains, it pours. This is the most common thing that kind of pushes us to the limit, kind of pushes us to ask ourselves, what is our purpose here? What is the meaning of all this? It surely isn't being 30, having to live at home with your mom, you know, being jobless, being without a companion. You know, it really can lead you to suicidal thoughts. And I know the comment that I got, that's exactly what is happening. So I've gotten so many of these comments and I've tried to respond one by one, but I think that, you know, at least one video, if not a couple, where we go over this. And I have to walk you through why this is just a bump in the road, a temporary bump in the road. First of all, so many of us when we're young, we put on the mask, we put on the disguise to try to impress everyone around us, to try to fit in. All of us want to fit in, all of us do. And we see these people who it just seems so easy. And society, which I believe just like our own ego, is evil in nature. It's darkness in nature. And I say this because society will push you towards what they think. I'm walking through the woods, I got that stuff all over me. What they think that you should do. So, see what that is. Don't know. So society says, oh, if you're living at home alone with your mother at age 30 and you don't have a job, then you're obviously a loser. You're not going to be able to find a girlfriend. You're not going to be able to make friends. You're just a loser. You just might as well accept it because you're just a loser. You might as well end your life. That's what society will tell you a lot of times, or they won't come out and say that, but that is what you feel when you're in that situation. Because there are societal norms that we're all expected to meet. We're expected to have a good paying job, you know, find a partner and provide for them as best we can. And sometimes nowadays, man, I know way too many young women who just expect, you know, I've seen something where if people don't make a 6-figure income, they don't want any part of that. And really, the low 6 figures is not enough for them. because they wanted to be treated like royalty. Because social media and all that BS on the internet tells them that's what you should get. Just get a man who takes care of you, and just get a man who will do this and that for you and treat you like you should be because you're a queen. Well, men should absolutely take care of women. Absolutely. But that's not what that means. That's not what that means at all. Because we define our purpose, our standing in life. Number one, the job that we have. Number two, the type of partner that we have. You know, we get that good-looking girlfriend and everything's great. She could be a total and complete asshole, but it doesn't matter because your friend's going to see her on your arm and man, they're going to all be jealous. How many times have you men seen someone walking around with just the hottest girl in the world and you're just like, oh man, I wish I could be him, but I'm stuck in this crap life. Living at home with my mom at 30. What is going on here? Do not be sucked into this garbage that society and your ego tell you. Excuse me. If you can stop listening to your ego, that's the main thing, because your ego is the one that makes you want to go along with those societal norms. Those societal norms mean nothing. Obviously, there's laws and there's, you know, you shouldn't act like a fool. You shouldn't be violent towards others, but other than short of breaking the law and being a complete degenerate, you have to be who you feel God is telling you to be. And you're not going to know that until you completely tame your ego. You're never going to get rid of your ego. You're stuck with it. It might be a demon, it might be a whatever, but it's necessary. Trust me. You know, your ego is what tells you to get a bath when you stink, or, you know, put some clothes on that don't look like total garbage, which I don't usually listen to. Sometimes you can be too detached from your ego. You need a little bit of it. But the ego is always going to steer you towards unhappiness. I don't know how many successful people, their stories I've listened to, where they just go into this deep depression because they might have been one of the greatest actors or comedians or painters or whatever in the world. And then they accomplish these great things, put out this great art or great work, and then they feel worthless. They're like, well, what now? I did a video a long time where I told the story of, I was watching an interview with one of the last men who went to the moon, and one of the moon missions, and I know, yeah. But he was saying that he went there, and what happened was he was not one of the first to go to the moon, so he wasn't some big hero where everybody was talking about, like Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin. Basically, nobody knew his name. I don't even remember his name now. But he goes there, and he has a successful mission, and he comes back, and he's like, I have literally gone to the moon. What is going to top that? What's going to top it? He said he went into a spiral. He went into a deep depression, started drinking, was just so depressed. And he went through a few years of just riding that spiral down deeper and deeper, until finally he and his wife decide, we're going to give the church a chance. They were lucky to have found a good church, because that's one thing. A lot of people will go to a church, find an awful one, and it's just ruined for them. Churches are something you have to search for, just like anything else. If that's the way you want to connect with God, that's the way you like to worship, if that's the way you're being called to, you need to try quite a few of them out. Try a couple different sects of, if you're a Christian, different, try the Baptist church, Methodist, Presbyterian, whatever, until you find the one that suits you. Anyway, he found an amazing church, and he realized that when he found and connected with God and found Jesus and the love and the salvation, that he felt better than he did even when he went to the moon. He said, by far, that is the greatest thing that happened to me. By far, he said. He said he thought he knew his purpose. He's supposed to be an astronaut. He's doing all these amazing things and having this amazing life, but there was no meaning behind it. There was no purpose. Of course, it was important. Going to the moon's important, being an astronaut, all the stuff that they do. If you believe in the moon landing. I wasn't going to say it, but I just did. But you get stuck in these ruts. And that is because, most likely, it's a time in your life for self-discovery. It's a time in your life to learn how you're going to be a part of this world and not conform to society, because nobody needs to conform to society except for the basics of being kind to each other and stuff like that. But as far as like the judgmental garbage that society puts on us, you don't have to pay attention one bit. If you can tame your ego, if you can make yourself into a positive person and seek that relationship with God, because until you do, you can be a happy person. You can be a great person who just lives an amazing life, and it's fine. A lot of people do it. But we live in such a strange time. It's hard to find purpose even for successful people. So what are us ones who fell through the cracks supposed to do? What are we supposed to do now that things are so strange? Technology's taking over everything, and people are just lost and broken. You have to discover your spirituality. I did a video on this yesterday, and I'll kind of go more into it. Your spirituality is your spirit. And when you discover yourself, you're discovering your spirit. And that higher sense of being. But that is where you start. That's where you have to start. You have to know yourself so you can know God. Because our connection to God is through our spirit. That's what I truly believe. I call it the divine wellspring. and then there's a void. So there's a darkness and a light within our soul and a connection to it. Most of us are drawn to that void because it's like a black hole and it just sucks in everything, and it just sucks in your joy and happiness and peace until there's nothing left. There's nothing left to live for. No meaning. But if you can find that divine wellspring, you can find God. That is the absolute tunnel, that conduit straight to God, our own unique relationship within us. Sounds like a speedboat might be going by here for a minute, so I apologize for the noise. But we find this divine wellspring that's flowing eternally. And that divine wellspring connects us straight to Him. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself because I want to put myself in the shoes of the most recent comment I got, where he's 30, girlfriend broke up with him, got fired, has to live with his mom, just miserable. You are forcing yourself to, you're telling yourself, I must be this, I must do this, or else it's going to be a wasted life. You're barely even middle age. Hopefully you live way past 60. You know, who knows, we might be living much longer lives when technology takes over and makes us into superhumans or whatever. Nobody wants to think about that if they're miserable, for sure. But we spend at least the first half, if not the first 3/4 to even more than that. We spend it out discovering ourselves, what we like, what we don't like, and that's the time when we get sucked into doing what society tells us to do. You are going to make yourself miserable if you compare yourself to everyone else. If you hold on to anger and spite and anxiety and fear in your life, you're going to be miserable. Because there is non-stop pain coming to you. It comes over and over. It's like waves on a beach, and sometimes it's a tsunami, and it's just too much, and it just takes you out. Unless you rise above the storm. And how do we do this? I've said it before, and somebody didn't like my wording for it, but sometimes you have to fake it till you make it in things. So it's not really exactly what, you'll have to excuse me, these bugs are out in force in Pennsylvania today, and they're the biters, so I'm getting bit up a little bit. But when you force yourself to be something, anything, that is when God pulls in the reins and He's like, whoa. I put you out here to live your life and to discover who you are, and then to make your way to me. And you might or might not find God in the profound way like I did. But you have to get yourself to a point where you have faith, where you have complete faith in Him. I've told you how I was the most miserable person, and I was not suicidal, because I would never ever do that to my family, but I felt like an anchor anyway. Being an anchor, and being what I thought was a useless nothing in my family's life, is still better than ending your life and then the people around you just are just torn by this. Sometimes they don't recover. That is the ultimate darkness, when we just end everything, and anyone you love, anyone you cared about is going to be hurt so much. And maybe that's what some of them want. Some of them want that. Some of them want that because they feel their lives are so meaningless that at least they're going to bring pain onto people. And that is an awful thing to say, but when your mind's that broken, when you're that far gone, anything sounds rational to you. It's going to break you if you don't at least tell yourself, I'm going to follow what God's plan is. If you lost your job and your girlfriend left you and you have to live with your mom, there is a lesson. Maybe the biggest lesson you are going to have to learn in life. Hopefully it is, but it's probably going to get even worse at times if you don't take care of things now. This is what I didn't know for the 13 years I was suffering from after my back surgeries and my constant pain, and I just thought I was cursed and everything was awful. There is such a peace when you know, no matter what, you're going where God wants you to be. So the quote that I remember that really stuck with me: don't follow your dreams, let your dreams follow you. You might think, well, I want to be an architect. And for some reason, for whatever reason, you keep trying and it just doesn't work out. Maybe you're really good at it and nobody knows, or maybe you're just bad at it and you think you're good at it. But you think, that's the only thing I like to do. That's the only thing that I really love. That's my passion. No, your passion is a lie. It's okay to do the things that you love. It's okay to follow your talents and really, like, if you have an opportunity to have a dream job, if it makes sense, of course, take it. Most people are going to be working just mind-numbing jobs, and they're like, oh, this is just awful. And there's no meaning in their lives anymore. Because they're like, well, this job doesn't matter to anyone. It's just pointless, and what's the point of everything? You know, it's like a similar situation. You are more than your job. You're more than your girlfriend or even your family. You are God's chosen children. All of you, anyone listening to this, we are all God's chosen children. 1 second, because I've got a bug biting me on the back of this shoulder. Oh, that really gets me today. You are beautiful, God's chosen children. Beautiful, all of you. No matter how ugly you might think you are, how meaningless you think your life is, there is a meaning for you. Maybe you are in that situation, and this happened to my parents, because your mother needs you. And maybe you are meant to find your faith in God and your inner peace and lift your mother up, and then start making friends and lifting them up. But you're going to tell yourself, I need to find a girl now because I'm getting older, and if I don't find someone, or if you want children, if I don't have children soon, it's going to be too late. And the more you tell yourself that, the more miserable you're going to be. It is never too late. It is never, I don't care if you're on your deathbed, it is never too late. You have to, I know the person that I'm mainly talking about, but I'm talking about a lot of comments that I've gotten. He said that he prays a lot, and you're probably praying the same way I did. Please give me just let me get a job, and let me find this job. This job looks amazing. Please let me get this, or please let me get this beautiful girl that she doesn't even know I'm alive. You know, please just let me get the stuff. God is not an ATM. He's not some spiritual ATM where you're going, you put your good deeds in, and then you just cash them out and get good stuff. Get that karma. Karma exists, but it's not what you think. You have to do good because you are a good person, not because you expect something in return. If you don't agree with me, read the book of Job. He did good all his life, but God said he did good because he expected that eternal reward, and that was it, not to have a relationship with him. You have to be the person God wants you to be by having a relationship with him, by having, I'll say it one more time because I'll probably say it a lot more after this too, because it's very important. The way I talked to God and the way I found him, and it took a while. I started walking in the woods, and I made myself walk outside at least a little bit every day. But I would make sure that I had times when I went out by myself. I didn't even bring my pets with me, because if you bring anybody else there with you, you're going to change who you are. Think about who you are if you're all alone, and then think about who you are around your friends or your girlfriend or whoever. It's completely different. Be who you really are. Don't ask God to give you things. He's giving you everything you need already. You just don't see it. Every single thing is a tool. And you're saying, well, all this pain is turning into suffering, and that's because you're making it suffering. You can choose to not have that fear. You can choose not to have that anxiety. And I get it, it's easier said than done, but you can literally, if you can't connect with God, try studying Stoicism or something. Something where you don't let these evil human parts of human nature make you into something that you don't want to be, a person you don't want to be. You have to seek God I go out in nature alone. I tell God, I used to, now I don't so much anymore. I used to tell God all my problems like he was my best friend and my counselor. And I was like, I'm just telling you, I don't expect anything in return. But once he came to me and I finally understood what his messages to me. And they're all around you. They're all around in life. These birds that are chirping, this beautiful lake behind me, Lake Arthur, this beautiful breeze that's going. Every single thing in nature is telling you something from God. If you are focused on whatever, this tree behind me, this tree, then take note of that. You're not going to understand at first. Don't force yourself. You can't force yourself to do anything. But you see the tree or an animal or whatever. I saw a cool little rat snake today. And little birds that were flying up into wasp nest and eating the wasps out of the nest. Oh, it's like the honey badger. They just don't give a crap. You're forcing stuff, and it's always going to end badly. Now, your way of connecting with God might not be the same as mine, but I go into nature and I look for his messages to me. I tell him my problems if I need to, but since he found me, I don't even tell him my problems. I just look for, I know he already knows my problems. If I really want to get it out, I'll say something, because sometimes you just have to talk to somebody. But I will just look for the answers to what's happening in life. You know, I'm going through probably one of the worst parts of my life right now, and I'm at still the most peace I've ever been in. And I'm nobody special. That's what I'm telling you. We all have this connection with God. We all do. You do too. You just think you're supposed to be what society tells you. Make the most of every situation you're in. Stop carrying the fear and the guilt and the anxiety around. If you pray to God, pray for guidance. Pray to get to know him. Pray for love, but not the love of a certain girl or certain this and that. He will, listen to me, I could barely talk to anyone before I was saved. I was socially anxious. I have this thing where when I'm in pain, I start sweating. So I'm like, I can't go anywhere because it's embarrassing. I'll start sweating through my shirt. I remember going to like a teacher thing, like when one of the girls' schools was starting up, and I was sweating so bad because I was in such pain, and then I got anxious, and that made the sweating even worse. I couldn't talk to anyone, and I couldn't really. I love people. I do love talking to them when I am talking to them, but I wouldn't go up and start conversations. And now, since he saved me, I have just everyone, like all kinds of people. It doesn't matter who. They come up and they talk to me, and we just naturally, a lot of times, I'll listen to their problems a lot of times because that's what I'm here for. I'll listen to what's going on in their life, and I actually listen to them. If you want to be in a relationship, you need to listen to people, and you need to, sure, there needs to be give and take in a relationship. For me, I get all I get from God, and then I give it to whoever I can in life. But people who I used to think were like stuck up, and people who I never would have thought they come up and just talk to me. And sometimes we talk about God and spirituality, and sometimes we don't. We just talk about their troubles. But so many times it goes to God and spirituality. And I'm telling you, please, you don't understand how amazing it is. And I'm coming from a life on paper that should not be good at all. I should be a lot less happy than you. I should be one of those miserable people that feel sorry for myself all the time, and that's just it. But God puts us every single place for a reason. You are there with your mom without a job. Maybe you're meant to get a better job. Maybe you're meant to move somewhere out of state. Maybe your mom needs you right now more than anyone. And you're going to find your faith, or you find your spirituality and be able to help her and lift her up. You don't know. Maybe she is going to find her spirituality and lift you up. Trust the process. Trust the plan. God is not going to put you in a place that you're not supposed to be. He told me the meaning for every single second of my suffering, every single second. And I am thankful for even when I have family members sick and dying around me, I am thankful for these moments, because I know now I'm not scared of them dying. I'm not scared of me dying, because I know about the afterlife. I know these things for fact, for 100% positive in my head. I might not know the nature of everything in the afterlife. I might not know the nature of anything in the divine or spiritual realm, but I know because God told me. God showed me, and He will show you if you seek Him. So please find your meditation, find your going out into nature alone and looking for signs and talking to God and being peaceful and easy and free. You are not alone. There were so many like you, and I promise you, once you surrender, once you tame that ego, it will be so beautiful, and you'll be like, I can't believe I was ready to end my life for such trivial things. I mean, people lived with their parents, and people lived with generations of their family for almost all of human civilization. Just because society's telling you, oh, you're a loser now because of that. Look at you. And there'll be people that laugh at you. Screw them. You're above them. Who cares? Those people are petty, evil creeps. You don't need to listen to them. You take your orders from God, and He will lead you to salvation and such profound inner peace. I've gone on too long here, I know. I love you all. Please, please write me anything you're having problems with. And if you have other questions about that situation, please let me know, and I will work with you as long as you need me to, because I'm here for all of you. I love you. God bless.